nothing new until we see we will never be free.
Welcome, everybody, to Archrivals Football. Preseason week 1 in the book. News and notes here on Archrivals Football. Football. Here is your Archrivals Football starting lineup. Starting at defensive end, number 94, Alex, the Bear of Texas Alcazaz. Starting at quarterback, number 24, Ricky, the Master of Mayhem Litwinkowicz. Archrivals Football is brought to you by 6ix9ine Productions. Welcome in. It is Archrivals Football. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend from Texas. It is the Bearman of Texas, Mr. Alex Alcazaz. Alex, what's going on?
Well, happy Sunday, everybody. And the first week of preseason is wrapped up. But, Ricky, I think you and I had such a great time to retake the show, and I think we've got the momentum, so let's not waste any more time. Let's have at it.
Well, I'm going to say it felt weird to be watching more than one game at a time, especially Friday and Saturday where there were a lot of games that were overlapped on the schedule. Is it great to have football back? Hell yes. However, I have to make a little bit of a confession. Wow, the radio station is on mute.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that was a little weird, but we fixed it. Thank God the other audio was not muted at all. Because then I would have been really pissed and would have to start the episode over. So I'm going to go by saying that I totally forgot. Like, I understand production is a very big deal. However, I also keep forgetting that watching multiple games at a time can be absolutely stressful. It can be very aggravating, and it can be extremely tiring. That I can definitely say right off the bat is different than the way it was back then. Obviously, we had more cast members, but we're not doing that anymore. So, we get a little bit more weight put on us, and God, oh God, is it great to have football back? Yes. But it is also, again, very tiresome.
Well, I've been watching football all year, but, not this football.
Well, in some of our lovely news and notes, and I will go ahead and pre-warn everybody for later on in the show with a gripe that I have. Including this gripe right off the bat, the Aaron Donald situation. Now, I did post about Aaron Donald on our social media, to which it did get quite a few comments. I did bring up the Aaron Donald issue while we were on the air on Friday. And now we're going to be going back to the Rams Aaron Donald soap opera. Apparently, he tried out for the Rams for the second time, legally, under NFL rules. And I do find it a little crazy to know that, Aaron Donald on the fence. It's a will he or won't he, Bearman?
Well, According to head coach Sean McVay, there is, quote, no invisible deadline on a decision that involves Mr. Aaron Donald. Well, I got the full story here that he discussed the status after the game against Kansas City, saying he wants to give Donald as much time and space as possible to have, quote, clarity. According to Mr. Sean McVay, again, the head coach of the LA Rams, he told reporters, and I quote, he's put himself in a position to be able to say yes or no. I think he's earned that right to have clarity on that. We're not at that point quite yet. End of quote.
You know what I say about that? They're both
Well-
full of shit. They're both
Well-
full of shit.
You know whose opinion we really need to hear, though, right?
You know what? I want to wait to hear from the other side. Okay?
I'm talking about the
Because,
playmaker.
yeah, you know what? Because I'm going to be honest with you, right? Like, we kind of bounce off of each other every once in a while. And we do know that there are quite a few people out there. Now, mind you, I don't follow the Rams. But I do have a very, very harsh, crotch-punching opinion about the Rams. And again, when we get to the game, I'm going to have a gripe about it. But let's be honest, okay? Either Aaron Donald is ready or he's not ready. He wants to play or he doesn't want to play. Okay? If you're building a team right now, you have 90 guys on your roster. And these guys are all ready to play. They've obviously been through mini camp and training camp and the practices, especially when you're practicing with another team, okay? You've got guys that are already ready. Why does it take all of a sudden Aaron Donald to take his balls out of his purse and say, you know what, I want to go back to playing in the NFL within like 2 months of the fucking season getting ready to start? Like, don't, you fucking jam up so much of an operation doing that shit. Like, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it.
Right.
Make up your fucking mind.
So let me ask you, is this causing distractions for the Rams? Or is this endangering them in any way?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe so. And the reason why I believe so on all of that is you gotta understand, okay? The NFL is a business, okay?
Right.
You don't want to take somebody else's job away only because you decide, oh, I'm bored at home, I'm tired of changing diapers, I want to go back and play football. Now, how many other guys' jobs do you possibly steal by just automatically making a decision like that? You tie up a fucking long line of planning, play calling, play building. What? All because you just get back a player that was your fucking bread and butter before he decided to retire for a few years? Like, let's be honest with that. You're stealing somebody's job if you're doing that right now.
Right.
Morally, it fucks things up.
Right.
So again, tell me where I'm fucking wrong or right on that one, because honestly, that's the way I look at it. That's absolutely the way I look at it. You're taking somebody else's job all because you're bored at home. Or you see another fucking masqueraded fucking opportunity for a fucking another Super Bowl title.
So this is obviously an ego thing.
I believe it's a ploy. I really do. Let's go back to, I don't know, the super all-star Philly team that everybody was like, oh, we have Pro Bowlers at every fucking position because everybody wanted to go there and they didn't win. Look at the NBA. Like, how many megastars were on one team. Like, it was like the triple threat for freaking every NBA team. And a lot of those teams didn't win. So what are we doing? Legitimately, what the fuck are we doing at this point?
I mean, that's the question, and there's no clear answer. What are we doing?
It to me logically just doesn't make a lot of sense.
A lot of
But
sense.
hey, you know what? If you want to steal somebody else's job, do it. If you wanna go there and think, oh, just because Myles Garrett and the rest of that defense is fucking solid, we're gonna win a fucking Super Bowl, and then you fall on your face because God forbid your offense can't stand up the way it's supposed to. You only legitimately have 2 wide receivers right now. You have basically a somewhat decent running game and an aging quarterback that if you breathe on him wrong, he fucking fades away into ashes. Come on, think about this for a minute. How you might be taking somebody else's roster spot away that'll help you win a Super Bowl.
At the end of the day, it's wrong, and Ricky, it's horrible, and I mean horrible timing.
A little bit of a minor note in the NFL news. The U.S. men and the U.S. Canadian, or the Canadian women's teams are doing well in flag football and are both going to be in the Olympics.
Okay, very positive to hear.
Because,
But-
flag football now is going to be a sport in the Olympics.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in the past. But we're speaking of the Rams. Well, we start off with some negative news, but let's go with something positive, and that's that rookie quarterback Simpson had 2 touchdowns in his preseason debut, which was against Kansas City. So there's some positivity.
Well, you
But-
know what? Let's jump to that game right now because I feel like we need to jump directly into that one. Okay, let me
If only the playmaker was
bring up
sad.
our
We need to
screen here
we need
for
to hear
this.
playmaker's thoughts.
Well, okay, so one thing before we get into the legitimate stats of this game, okay? Now it's on the screen. They won 20-12. I have a problem with this game. A fucking severe problem with this
The way you
game.
say
It
that,
was
the way
not
you say that.
It was not the game in itself. Okay? It was news that I heard during the first and second quarters of this game. Now, mind you, I am watching this game with my 11-year-old nephew. Okay? Now, he loves football. He loves his Kansas City Chiefs. But we watch football as a whole. Okay?
It's a family thing.
It's a family thing. And I go and hear the announcer say, oh, we really can't show you the Los Angeles Rams sideline because none of the stars of the LA Rams are on the sidelines. Okay, so
did I hear this right? So they said they can't do it because none of the stars are on the sideline. I have a question for you, Ricky. If you were in charge of the whole production and somebody made that decision, would somebody get fired?
No.
No?
No. Here is a cardinal white guy anger moment on Archrivals football. Master of Mayhem should be swiped away for a different name currently right now. Okay? All right, I understand that. What commented to the TikTok chat. If you can't show the sidelines because the Rams stars are not there, how fucking selfish are they? Every preseason game that I watched, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all had full team attendance at the games. No Matt Stafford, no Devontae Adams, no Puka Nacua, no potential Aaron Donald. What the fuck is that shit? If you are a member of a team, whether you are starting or not, you're fucking overpaid dumbass should be at the fucking game. Do not give any fucking platform, ESPN, NFL, CBS, NBC, Fox, oh, we're not participating in the game, so we're not showing up. That is some fucking heinous, greedy, egotistical bullshit that I have ever fucking seen covering or watching any sport known to man. Oh, we're not participating in the game, so we're not showing up. We're going to keep our frumpy, overpaid asses back in LA because we're not playing in the game.
That's a horrible example. What kind of example are you setting? Here's the deal, Ricky. Okay, even if I'm a veteran player, I'm still getting paid the biggest bucks. Okay, I'm going to be at the game because even if these guys don't make the final 53-man roster, they're my teammate for the time being. Even if it's temporary, still, they're my teammate. I'm supposed to have their back. I'm supposed to support them. I'm supposed to teach them. I'm supposed to set an example, right? So of course I'm going to be there. Besides, what am I going to do? I'd rather be there for my team.
Here's my example to what you just said. What quarterback did you just mention leading into this segment?
Mr. Ty Simpson.
Okay, so you have a 38-year-old quarterback who's been in the league forever.
Since 2009.
So
the number one overall pick in 2009.
So would you not be not only a extra coach to your new rookie backup quarterback, you couldn't be a mentor to your new rookie quarterback. You decided to say you're fucking destroyed, abused, hurt body because you weren't playing in the game on Saturday, that you stayed in fucking LA to fucking lick your wounds. You can't be doing that on the team flight where you know you could be better purposed. What kind of fucking example are you setting for that player? Where every other game that I saw, there was mentoring going around on the sidelines. There was camaraderie on the sidelines. But no, what are the Rams fucking special? Because I think that's a load of garbage.
Oh, I agree.
If you physically can't fly, okay, like you have a neck injury or you have a back injury and that sidelines you from going, that I can understand. Oh, I stubbed my toe. I can't get on the plane. Oh, I pulled a muscle in my leg. I can't get on the plane. I'm sorry. Fucking, there are people who are not physically capable of flying and they still fucking do it. No fucking excuses. I'm sorry. That is a load of garbage.
I agree.
That's a load of garbage.
But the point I made, you agree, like, that's your teammate. You're supposed to be there for him.
I mean, not for anything. Okay? Another example. Now, Patrick Mahomes was in full, and I mean full gear for yesterday's game. Pads. Like, he was in full uniform yesterday. Even with the big-ass leg brace on his left knee. And he was still on the sidelines. Every game that there was not a starter playing was either in street clothes or in full uniform, sitting on the sidelines. Yet the Rams, who could have been featured as probably everybody's pick to win the fucking Super Bowl this year, the starters are not even there. Fucking black eye on that one.
Black eye. I had far worse than that, buddy. But yeah. I'm not gonna sit. I was about to say something really stupid. You know what that is, Ricky?
What's that?
I was about to say it is what it is, but thank God I didn't say that because it's not. It is what it is. No. Because wait, again, this is a bad example, and it's not only a bad example that makes the Rams look bad, but I gotta tell you, such behavior. This affects the reputation of not only the National Football League, but the sport of American football. But
Well, I am going to say, I'm going to get away from the games for a minute, that we did start a trend on Friday. A really, really weird trend we will not get any credit for.
that sucks.
But I will say this. Something that we prototypically do the best made it to everybody just piggybacking off of us and just going bananas with two topics. One topic, I'm going to pull a Barry Horowitz from WWF. Nice little pat on the back for the video because everybody ripped off my video that I posted for Archrivals. Jaden Daniels. Man, that mofo is getting toasted, tortured. And there's more news from that, by the way. It's not Jaden Daniels himself pulling this full cease and desist order about his number 5. It's his family and his camp that are supposedly, pulling the cease and desist order. And come to find out, this is even funnier, that there are memes galore going around about Jaden Daniels.
Oh yeah.
Man, oh man, did they royally fuck this one up.
Yeah, I sent that to you, and it spoke for itself. But anyway,
me personally, I think it's hilarious that my video, which I posted legitimately not even like an hour after the show went off on Friday, and I'm sitting there watching football, and I'm putting the meme and shit together, and then my feed legitimately went from our Archrivals video talking about Jaden Daniels, and he tell him to take his fucking panties out of his crotch area and just growing the fuck up. Because now there are memes everywhere. 5 Guys is now changing their name to 4 Guys because apparently it offends Jaden Daniels. Okay? Apparently there were some rainouts of baseball games during the weekend. And instead of them having a 5 p.m. restart of the game, they had it to 5:05, hoping that it wouldn't offend Jaden Daniels. Okay? The Jackson 5 wants to legitimately rename themselves to the Jackson 4+1 because it offends Jaden Daniels.
And guess what? Subway apparently can't do the $5 footlongs anymore.
No, they're doing them for their now, quote, $4.99 footlongs.
Oh. Well, you are paying tax, so you still.
So it ends up coming out to like $5.32. But like let's be honest here, okay? Jaden Daniels, his camp, and his family will forever be known as a 5 meme. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Now, another thing that we talked about on Friday's show was the reaction to how Buffalo Bills fans would react to the new said stadium that was built. The $2 billion bitch is what they
boy.
are calling it. And we'll even throw up the game screen on that one because, let's be honest, it wasn't really truly a game, but the stadium was packed. The reviews were not great at all. In a jumbled post that I read on TikTok, I read it on NFL, I read it on ESPN, I read it on BuffaloBills.com. Many season ticket holders regret buying season tickets to the show at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo due to the massive obstructed visuals where they were sitting. Unreal. Buffalo Bills fans, diehard Bills fans, regret buying season tickets.
Oh boy.
Now, mind you, during this game, we did have the starters in quite, I think, like the first 2 drives for the Buffalo Bills in the first quarter. They looked very in sync. Although I'm going to go out and say you're not running your best packages on defense when you're doing preseason. So there was a lot of disparity in the plays. You know, but Buffalo pretty much doubles up the Carolina Panthers 29-14.
They did, and Josh Allen actually did get a certain amount of time. He finished 6 for 8, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, with a rating of 156.2. Averaged about 14 yards per throw. Well, he did average 14 yards because it's 13.9, but you round it, and well, you know. So two players by the name of Allen played at quarterback for the Bills. Josh and Kyle Allen. I would imagine no relation.
Yeah, they're not related.
Right.
Although I think there would be an argument by Josh if little brother didn't make the team. He might throw a temper tantrum, kind of like he did in the playoffs last year. Woe is me, he's crying all over the place. You know, every year, oh, this could be Buffalo's year. That's kind of like a asinine thing to another team. And I think we're going to go cover that one really, really quick. That would just so happen to be your Cowboys over the Seattle Seahawks, 17-7.
Ricky, I thought we saved the best for last.
No, I decided, you know what? Because I have the news article here, and it probably will go along with the way the game was coached, the players involved in the game, and I will lovely read this article verbatim-wise, thanks to, I believe this is NFL.com on the article. Quote, and this is the name of the article, the Micah Parsons trade allowed the Cowboys to take risks to improve the defense. The article, however, goes on to say, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones continues to liken the Micah Parsons trade to the legendary Herschel Walker swap that spurred the club's dynastic run in 1990. Would you like me to go further?
You might as well.
Jones noted on Thursday that the Parsons trade was impetus behind the Cowboys' defensive rebuild heading into this season. Quote, you can say those picks got us key players, but the main thing is that the Herschel Walker trade did, and it caused me to be more aggressive and caused us to do, if you will, more risks because we had more picks. Then he goes on to say it's like going to Vegas with some extra money in your pocket. Going out there like with the baby's new pair of shoes and formula money in your pocket. You can't be as good with a crapshooter as you are when you've got the baby's new pair of shoes throwing out there with you. So in a way, it actually created a mental part to us and to my role in it with me. To step out and make moves and take, if you will, risks that are involved to be where we are today with a competitive makeover of the difference, end quote. Your comments, Bearman, on Jerry Jones shooting his cream about the Micah Parsons trade.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna go on a full hour rant because it's not worth it. And honestly, there's no smart way to do it. Because let's be honest, to compare the Micah Parsons trade to the Herschel Walker trade is stupid right off the bat. And let's be honest, the Herschel Walker trade was far bigger, far riskier. But get this, Ricky. Jerry Jones takes credit for the Herschel Walker trade, right?
Yeah.
But you know that we all see right through that because you know who really came up with the trade?
Do tell.
Jimmy Johnson. The same guy that Jerry Jones ran out of town after opening his mouth after the Cowboys won their second straight Super Bowl in 1993. Okay? So so what Jerry Jones says, he can say what he wants. I mean, yeah, everybody knows he's an egomaniac, okay? It's just dumb to compare the trade, but it's funny enough that when the trade happened, Ricky, you called me personally and you said, Alex, you didn't say Bearman, you said, Alex, when you go on your show, Cowboys Talk, and mention this, tell your audience that the Master of Mayhem says the Cowboys got away with robbery.
Let me ask you currently.
But you did say that.
I need you to. We need to play the rewind machine for a minute, okay? Now, pull up exactly what the Herschel Walker trade was, okay? And pull up what the Micah Parsons trade was last year.
Okay.
Let us do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison on the two. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they're not anything close. The trades are legitimately nothing close.
All right.
Give me that. Which one do you have first? Which one do you have first?
Well, I have the breakdown. I mean, thank God for that. Okay, so the Packers got Micah Parsons. So here's what the Cowboys got. They got a defensive tackle by the name of Kenny Clark,
Mm-hmm.
a 2026 first-round pick, which they used to draft a linebacker by the name of Malachi Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
a 2027 first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now it goes a little further because there were some subsequent moves. Because the Cowboys later flipped the Packers' 2027 first-round pick and second-rounder to the Jets for them to get defensive tackle Quentin Williams, who just signed a 3-year, $100.9 million deal. So the Cowboys still have 2 first-round picks in 2027, but I think the Jets have the ownership of the highest one from that trade.
So,
I'm not done yet. No,
okay.
I'm not done yet.
Go ahead.
We talk about perspectives of the franchise, okay? Now, Fairme's probably going to roll her eyes because I got to mention Jerry Jones again. Because Jerry Jones defended the trade as a, quote, earthquake move required to revamp the interior defense and better stop the run.
Well, okay, so if you're sitting there, so the Packers got 2 players, right?
Well, they only got Micah Parsons.
Yes, but they also got a draft pick, didn't they?
No.
Okay, so the Packers got 1 player
just Micah Parsons,
who played how many games in the 2025-2026 season?
Well, he was hurt a lot.
Okay, so
here I'll pull it up in a second because I'm not going to leave it like that. I mean, come on, we don't take shortcuts. I mean, this is Pipe Bomb Radio. Well, this is Archrivals, but this is Pipe Bomb Radio.
Yeah, but you know what? There's some drastic points that I want to shove up Jerry Jones' balloon knot. about
right,
this
but I
whole
do have the
deal.
answer whenever you're ready.
Okay, give me the answer about how many games Michael Parsons played last season.
He played in 14, and he
14.
registered 12.5 sacks.
Okay. So he didn't play a full 17-game slate. He missed 3 games last year. Okay? Now,
That's not the worst part, though, Ricky.
what was the worst part?
He got injured in the playoffs, didn't he? Or at the end of the season? Well, I don't know when he. Well,
I think it was toward the end of the season. He got hurt.
Well, here I'll pull that. I'll pull that up too, man.
So
we're doing this on the fly.
So now,
December, so December 14th,
yeah.
15 against
So
the Broncos.
So he didn't play a full season, which means he didn't play in the playoffs either.
Right.
Because I believe it was a leg injury and he was lost for the season. Okay? Now let's flip over to the Cowboys side. Let's throw some shine here. Okay? You said they got 2 defensive players because they not only got one in the trade, but they ended up getting another one for draft picks, right?
No, the Cowboys only got one player in the trade. Although now people know because later on the Cowboys made another trade with the Packers to get well, I forgot the other player's name, but no, as part of this trade, they got a defensive tackle by the name of Kenny Clark. The other trade was a player by the name of Rashawn Gary, actually.
Yes, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is this, right? So even if you get a draft pick in the deal, you're still going to then play the futures game and do things with the draft picks, right? So you say they drafted a player with one of those draft picks.
Yes.
And then they traded the draft picks for other players, correct?
Sure.
So technically, the Cowboys got 4 players for trading Micah Parsons, who didn't play a full season. Correct?
Sure.
Okay. But these are 4 viable pieces that Jerry Jones got. Now, mind you, we're not in the 2026-2027 season yet, so we can play to be determined with whatever came in after the season. Okay, cool, whatever. Now let's go to the Herschel Walker trade.
But Ricky, again, you gotta confirm. You told me that the Cowboys got away with robbery.
They did, and the reason why they got away with what they did is, again, the players that they acquired, I believe, did more than what Micah Parsons did in one season. That's my point. There is more production and more, I guess, benefit for them going into the draft knowing what they had in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. But the first round pick they got, they flipped it with a second rounder to the Jets as part of the Quentin Williams trade.
Yes.
But it seems like the Cowboys are still doing something because they still have another first round pick next year.
Yes.
That one is secured.
But again, you swap a 1 for a 2. You know the good thing about swapping a 1 for a 2?
Enlighten us.
Money. You could still get a great player that didn't get drafted in the first round, in the second round, and the Jets draft pick was in the beginning of the second round. So you're not getting a fucking just a second round pick. You're getting a 1B first round pick. You understand? So you're still getting a higher quality player in the beginning of the second round. Then, on top of that, you got 2 NFL ready players to slot into your defense.
Right. So let me ask you this. By doing what the Cowboys did, the Cowboys gained a significant amount of draft capital.
Exactly. Planning for the future. However, now let's go to the Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, you remember it very well.
I do, because I was alive for this.
Yeah, and this was before I was born, y'all.
So let's go to the Herschel Walker trade right now.
It was 1989.
Yep.
How old? Yeah, you were 12.
I was 12. I was alive for this.
I wasn't even...
In the beginning of my football tandeming, we were alive for this.
This was 4 years before I was born, y'all.
So give me the Herschel Walker trade. Come on, let's go.
Oh boy. Well, first of all, every time I look at that, it makes me feel bad for one of my closest friends because he's a Vikings fan. Okay. Oh God. Oh. So the Herschel Walker trade took place October 12th, 1989. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, it was a blockbuster trade that sent the star running back to the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the time, the Cowboys were the worst team in the league, while the Vikings were, well, were they the best or were they just among the best?
They were among the best. I would
Among
say they
the
were
best.
around top 10. Sometimes they could be in it. Sometimes they can't be in it. You know, better known as the Purple People Eaters.
Right. But the Vikings were considered a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay. So the trade, as we know, involved a total of 18 players and draft picks, providing Dallas with a massive draft haul that fueled the 90s championship dynasty. The Cowboys sent Herschel Walker along with a third, fifth, and 10-round draft pick. Back then, there were that many rounds. The Vikings sent linebackers Jesse Solomon, David Howard, cornerback Isaiah Holt, running back Darren Nelson, defensive end Alex Stewart, plus a bounty of future draft picks, including not one, not two, but 3 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders. So you know what the Vikings did, Ricky?
They basically traded away a bunch of players that, if you go to look up any of their stats after getting traded, did absolutely fucking nothing. However, the Dallas Cowboys traded away a Hall of Famer.
But
They
they
traded away a Hall of Famer. They basically said, here is our golden ticket. We want you to send us a bag of footballs, kicking tees, and pairs of cleats for our Hall of Famer. Okay? That's what they basically did. Now, mind you,
the Vikings won.
but again, the Vikings didn't win shit because they still haven't won a Super Bowl yet. And Herschel Walker just changed the dynamic of what the Vikings' run game was, because that guy was just ridiculous. And all that really did was get a little bit of draft capital to get the Cowboys some pieces. I don't remember exactly what the draft picks were, but it kind of did shift a little bit of balance for the Cowboys, being the fact that they did win in the 90s. So again, like, the shine is not the same. The shine is not the same.
Not the same? Let me name 3 players the Cowboys drafted with these picks.
Which players did they draft with the picks? And especially, first off, I don't think a 10th round pick meant a lot of shit in the fucking 90s.
Right. The Cowboys, okay, Emmitt Smith, Russell Maryland, and safety Darren Woodson. 3 of the most famous players in the Cowboys' history. And the Cowboys got 3 Super Bowls out of it. Guess what? The Vikings didn't even make the damn Super Bowl. But again, I feel bad because one of my best friends and my best mentors is a native Minnesotan who just moved back to Minnesota after spending he lived a long time in Los Angeles, but he just moved back to Minnesota where he retired.
All I'm going to say is this.
I mean, you can't retire in California.
I mean, Jerry Jones won this trade as of right now. But we cannot put a, like, oh my God, comparison with the Herschel Walker trade to the Micah Parsons trade.
You can't.
They're 2 totally different players.
Right.
In 2 totally different eras.
Right.
And let's be honest, that future with whatever draft picks Jerry Jones has gotten is still to be determined. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
the Herschel Walker thing is said and done by now, okay? Like, we know what happened with Herschel Walker. We know what happened with the 3 Cowboys players. Still to this day, that Herschel Walker trade is one of the biggest blunders in NFL history.
Not for the Cowboys.
Not for the Cowboys, but when you're talking trades, look at what we've gotten. I mean, let's compare. If we want to play devil's advocate a little bit, a little bit of shout out to Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves, because we talked about them on Pipe Bomb Radio on Friday.
Which was so much fun.
And I think devil's advocate would be the best way to go, because if you want to put that in the analogs of stupid trades in history, Russell Wilson, up again. By the way, also, side note, Russell Wilson has retired from the NFL and has decided he is going to work with the CBS announced team this year coming. I guess probably because they don't have Tony Romo right now. So let's throw Russell Wilson in there.
But you know what? Russell Wilson's still getting paid by Denver.
Yep. So that man is making stacks and sacks of cash. And he doesn't have to get hurt anymore.
He doesn't have to. He has to suit up, but not pad up.
No. But the suit that he pads up for is like $400.
Hey, you know what? So what?
All right. What we are going to do is we are going to go to our first commercial of the show. When we come back, more games, more news, more notes. This is Archrivals Football. 6ix9ine Productions brings to you today one of the best, if not the best ticket app on the market today, TickPick. Buy live event tickets online at lower prices. TickPick has no service fees. Get last-minute tickets to your phone instantly with TickPick. Buy today. Not ready to buy yet? Learn how to price freeze. A new way for customers to continue saving by using the TickPick app and freezing prices while they plan. With over $100 million in customer savings and counting, we guarantee the best prices. That includes tickets for sports, concerts, and theater. Yes, I said theater tickets, damn it. Use the link in the description of our show and start getting great deals on your tickets today. The Master of Mayhem said so. All right, we are back here on Archrivals Football. Down to the bottom there is the Bearman, Alex Alcazaz. Let me tell you, I'm actually kind of glad we bounced around on some of the games, and only for the lovely fact being that there were some pretty surprising results, I will say, going into definitely Lions-Bengals. And I'm going to say, because I was watching all of these games at the same time, the privilege of the internet, or the interweb, as I like to call it. 2-point win for the Bengals over the Detroit Lions. There was a lot of hard hitting in this game, but there is one known fact. Joe Burrow started this game. Joe Flacco is his backup in Cincinnati. I'm kind of happy with that. However, the offensive line, I thought they were fixing that shit. Because at one point during the game, Joe Burrow got dropped like a sack of potatoes. Like unabated to the quarterback. Dropped.
Wasn't that like the second play of the game?
It was like the second play of the first drive of the game. And he just got dropped.
Well, he got back up, right?
And he did get back up. But again, that was a problem the offense was supposed to have been fixing. And they didn't. They didn't fix the problem. I don't get the whole deal of it not working out that way.
Well, they're continuing to fail Joe Burrow.
I think they're doing more than bailing Joe Burrow. I think they'll
Right.
be priming fucking Joe Flacco to pick up the pieces. Because I guess
Yeah.
they're now showing that Joe Burrow is probably not going to be as viable as fucking Joe Flacco this year. Next, we also did have Packers Steelers. And I'm going to go out on the limb. There were not very many starters in this game. In fact, Aaron Rodgers did not start this game. But I will say this. The Steelers look very deep. They look very deep after their starters. And if that's the preview of what we are going to get from Pittsburgh, a.k.a. like I call them, Shitsburg, the AFC North is going to look very, very tough for any team to come out of that division. That I'm going to say.
Well, Jordan Love briefly played, but only briefly.
Yeah, but briefly. I think it was only like one drive, and then I think he was done. I don't think he played a lot in the first quarter. But
No.
I'm going to say this. The Steelers, their back end is loaded. If they can legit be on all cylinders, offensively and defensively, the Steelers are going to be a sleeper to come out of the North.
Well, it's been it's been a very long time of disappointment for Pittsburgh, and they're finally looking to crawl out of that hole.
Well, I can just at least say this. The AFC is going to be a very tough division this year.
Well, that's exciting.
It's going to be a it's going to be a very tough division because now, obviously, you're getting a lot of players back that were not very viable last year, including the Colts, which I paid a lot of attention to this game only because of the practice squads interactions where we kind of did see it be a little uneven with Patriots offense versus Colts defense. But for it to finish in a 13-13 tie, it is putting a lot of Patriots fans on notice. New England, we have a problem. We have a problem because our starting kicker, not some Joe Schmo from the woods, was kicking in the game, missing not one, not two, but 3 field goals in the game where potentially it could have been 22-13. Instead, we get the 13-13 tie. I'm going to say Tommy Cutlets, phenomenal job starting and playing most of the game. I believe he played one half. Did pretty well. There is showing that the Patriots do have a large issue on their hands of how many wide receivers they're going to keep. And defensively, the depth is not what I expected. Secondary did not look very well. I know the front seven did look very viable. There may be some new weapons that Mike Vrabel is going to have fun pushing the buttons on. But a tie in preseason is normal. Nobody wins. Nobody loses. You just pack your shit, go the fuck home.
Right.
Cardinals Raiders.
Well, hold on. I do have a couple of things I should mention from the Colts and Patriots game.
Go for it.
Well, Anthony Richardson, played that one. Both quarterbacks for the Colts, neither of them had a touchdown, and both threw an interception. The other one, we had a former Notre Dame quarterback, Riley Leonard. But you know who started for your New England Patriots in this one, right?
Yes, Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy DeVito. Capiche?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he wasn't wearing his chains on during the game, by the way.
Right.
Only with the Giants as he won the gold chains and shit.
But
Which I found a little
DeVito
weird.
already slated to be Drake May's backup, right?
Yes.
Right. And it's
However,
not
I
that
think there's going to be another
Tommy DeVito is a good quarterback.
I'm
People
gonna-
often saying that.
I am
He's
going
a
to
good
go.
quarterback.
I'm going to go out on a limb though and say that the backup played better than Tommy did.
Okay.
Like I feel like he had a better feel for the game. Like he managed it a little bit better. I'm not saying the stats were astronomically great, but I think he managed the game just a little bit better than Tommy did. So
Okay.
I think that's going to definitely be a battle. Collins has the advantage because obviously he's a little bit more seasoned, but not bad. Not bad.
All right. Chargers and Texans.
Actually, I'm going to go to Raiders Cardinals.
Okay.
Obviously, Carson Beck hurt ribs, so he did not participate in said game.
Gardner Minshew. Well, terrific one. Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, a perfect 5 for 5. No, almost every quarterback threw a touchdown, but no, Gardner Minshew and Brissett were the ones that threw a touchdown. Jeremiah Love, 58 yards on 11 carries. Not too bad.
Oh, and we got to speak on him too, by the way,
because
because Mr. Jeremiah Love, part of that new Young Guns commitment in Arizona, got hurt in the game.
Wait, he did?
Yes, he did.
What's the injury?
The injury is an ankle injury, and he is listed week to week.
Oh, my God. Well, then I guess you can say he's out for the rest of the preseason.
I would say yes on safety reasons, but weirder things have happened. I mean, Saquon Barkley, McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson have all had similar issues, but it didn't sideline them for very long. But again, those are seasoned vets, and Mr. Love is a rookie.
Right.
So,
Well, speaking
I don't
of
know.
rookie, Fernando Mendoza for the Raiders.
I am still gonna call him Carlos. Fuck that.
Fernando Mendoza, 10 for 16, 97 yards and a touchdown. Aiden O'Connell played as well, only 4 for 13, but for 84 yards. And Captain Kirk also played 5 for 6, 50 yards and a touchdown. You like that?
I don't know. He wasn't on the Starship Enterprise for this game.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I will say though, I did watch the highlights of Mendoza. He has potential, but he still has one issue.
What's
he
that?
Still does have issues reading defenses.
Well, he's no longer in college now. He's now in the pros. It's a whole different ballgame.
Again, he is going to get the learning curve ultimately quickly, and at some point he'll be a starter. I'm not going to say he's going to be a starter that quick, but he'll probably be in there by maybe the end of the season.
All right.
All right. Now you want to go to Chargers Texans, which, believe it or not, yours truly and the Bear are hopefully going to be seeing these two teams play at SoFi Stadium in November. So this was kind of a preview of what we were getting in November.
If I'm going to make it, I'm going to need y'all's help. So please listen to my shows. Please listen to our radio. Please listen to Archrivals. Sorry, Ricky.
Go for it. Give them what you got.
Well, I have to get that message first. If I'm to make it to LA in November, I need everybody to listen to my shows and share it out. But, Houston's, Mr. Stroud didn't play, which is no surprise. Yeah, Houston had a bad day. Very bad day. So, Trey Lance, I'll never forget how the 49ers, we talked about the Herschel Walker trade. one of these days we got to talk about the Trey Lance, what the 49ers gave up to get Trey Lance, and how the whole thing totally crapped the bed, and then didn't go well in the Cowboys. So now Trey Lance is trying his luck with the Chargers, and this preseason performance really did him justice. 12 for 20, 164 yards, but no touchdowns and one pick. But the Chargers had a good game. Obviously, Family's thoughts are what we need to hear since he's a Chargers fan.
Well, we just had a random comment saying somebody was just saying hi and then they left. I don't know. I will say that there was pretty much a really big ongoing theme throughout a lot of the games.
Well, she says Harbaugh was happy.
Oh, he was happy, but preseason means nothing. It's when the lights are shining bright, like the ones in my fucking studio right now. That's when everything counts.
Right.
Preseason is working out the kinks.
Right. It's to see who's good and who's not good to make the team.
And let's be honest with you here that a lot of the ongoing theme that I saw through a lot of the preseason was something that we thought was going to fade away and become obsolete, was running games. If you look at a lot of the stats throughout every one of these games, you will see there was an average of 6 to 9 running backs used in all of these preseason games. And plays, everybody was hitting hard. Running backs were hitting the hole hard. They were wiggling their way downfield. Some of them just looked pretty much unstoppable. Like I believe even in our next game, Texans and 49ers, Titans running backs, they were hitting hard.
Right.
And Titans come out with a 6-point win against the MASH unit that belongs in San Francisco. Because I can't even tell you how many more players got hurt in this game.
Oh, for San Fran?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
But I'm going to tell you, though, like, I think the running game is what's going to be the most helpful out of a lot of these. And even to click back, rewind a little bit from what we were talking about in the show. Obviously, we did talk about Rams and Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Okay.
Because they only have 2 seasoned running backs on their roster, and everybody else after that is rookies. So at certain points, if they really don't have anything loaded behind Kenneth Walker III, they are going to have to really research to see what they're going to have behind him. Because if they lose Walker, they're fucked. They are tremendously fucked.
Oh, big time.
Broncos Falcons. All I could say is there was a stampede in this game because the Broncos were really up a lot early. And then obviously you get into your bag of bones the rest of the game. That's where Atlanta started to succeed. Tua Tagovailoa, very disappointed in his preseason start. Tua, what the fuck did you expect? What did you expect, Tua?
I mean, only 22 yards. Cooper Rush, a former longtime Cowboys backup, went 7 for 19, but threw 2 interceptions. And speaking of interceptions, the Broncos had a 97-yard pick six.
I'm going to say this. The Broncos defense, starter, second level, third level, whatever they are smoking in Denver, they better keep smoking. They better keep smoking because that defense is ridiculous. That could probably be a very large top-tier defense throughout the NFL season. Okay, they might not be able to score. I mean, they're not the Baltimore Ravens. But I think, honestly, Denver's defense is going to be solid. They didn't lose very many pieces in the offseason. I think they brought in a few pieces just to kind of stabilize a few things, but damn. Like, that defense is stacked. Do you have defensive stats for Denver for this game?
Absolutely, I do. Well, there's the 2 interceptions, but we look at defensive statistics. I mean, there's a couple of there's actually one quarterback sack, but as far as total tackles, those over 50, and tackles for a loss, there was 3.
It sounds like a typical day at the office for the Denver Broncos.
Right, and well, here's something I got to mention. Sam Ellinger, former Texas Longhorn quarterback, had to put some time in this one. Went 10 for 14, 67 yards. Battling out the NFL.
Okay. It's that time of it's the time of the show where we got to turn around and say, just end the season.
The New York Jets.
The New York Jets go yet another game without an interception. The streak continues. It's like that streak in your underwear where you just can't stop shitting in your pants. That's what the New York Jets are doing. Now, I'm not going to say that they didn't play a halfway decent game. They did lead in the game. They did throw up 10 points in the first quarter. Thought everything was turning around. And then Tampa started actually playing.
They literally thought they were going to fly away, did they, the New York Jets?
Yeah, they're flying away like a fart from Taco Bell. That's the way they're flying away.
It's funny. The Jets versus the Bucks, like an airplane versus a pirate ship.
My God, Bailey
Zappi,
wait, Bailey Zappi is on the Jets?
He's a guy you're very familiar with.
Yes, I'm very familiar with because he used to be a Patriot.
Yeah.
Wow, how the mighty have fallen.
Quarterbacks that played. I don't think. Well, I heard of Zappi, but Brady Cook, Cade Klubnik. I'm not familiar with these guys.
Okay, Cade Klubnik is the guy I believe just drafted. Because, Geno Smith got hurt again. Couldn't even play a fucking run for a drive in the preseason game. So they traipsed out backup quarterback 1, 2, and 3. Here you go. Here's the Tampa defense. Have fun. That's, again, like, if we don't see the Jets as either a number 1 pick or a top 5 pick in the NFL draft in 2027, man, heads are rolling. Heads are going to roll fast. In frickin' lovely New Jersey. I can't even say New York because they don't play in New York.
There's only one team that plays in New York.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's funny. The only New York team that plays in New York is not a New York City team. But speaking of the New York Jets, y'all, when I first started working with Ricky, I thought that he was a Jets fan.
I just have to do a shameless shout out to my boy Medina, who is a diehard Jet fan. Unfortunately, the Jet fan is living in Florida and has to deal with Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Miami Dolphins. But he is a diehard Jet fan. Me and him, I was on his live yesterday. I wasn't in a box, but I was on his live yesterday. And I got to tell you, me and him, we are really, really good friends. We do throw a lot of shade back and forth at each other. But, Medina, I am sorry. Your team still sucks. Your team still sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I do have a little bit of a bleeding heart for him Some other Jet fans can just suck it. But for him, like, yeah. I feel bad for him. Like, at some point, hopefully, maybe Jets brass will turn over, or they'll actually get smarter players and coaches. But no, like, I feel sorry for Medina. And I know he watches Archrivals when he can, but shout out to Medina. But, bro, your team sucks.
Just end the season.
Then we go to what I thought would be the crap bowl of the century with the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Commanders. I'm sorry, Redskins. And we got a lot of comments on that one too, with your question of should the Redskins get their name back? Thanks to everybody on TikTok for that one.
From the clip, right?
Yes, from the clip.
Did we get any heat or just comments?
No, there were comments. There was a little bit of love. You know, you gotta let things soak on TikTok before you you pull up the net. But I'm gonna say though, I was actually pretty surprised by the Dolphins. I'm not gonna lie, there was some positivity that came out of Miami yesterday. If you want to just give me some of those Miami stats, please, that would be nice.
The score thing, yeah. Miami scored first, and all right. Well, Quinn Ewers, the former Longhorn quarterback, 1 for 8, 27 yards, and 1 interception. Horrible. Cam Miller, 2 interceptions, 3 for 11. Malik Willis, 4 for 5 for 43 yards. Yeah. Only 109 yards total by the quarterback, not even 10 completions.
How about the running game, though? Because I thought the running game was actually pretty decently effective yesterday.
117 yards total on 28 carries. So, yeah, that's respectable.
Mind you, you didn't have any of the starters playing in there, right? There was no Echan or anybody in there like that?
Yeah. No. Well, actually, no. Etienne did start. No, he did play. Javon Etienne, yeah, 39 yards on 7 carries, and he's the one that scored. He's the one that scored the touchdown for the Dolphins.
So he still averaged over 5 yards per carry for probably like maybe 2 drives.
Yeah, 5.6 yards, 6 yards if you round it.
So the running game, again, like I had said, the ongoing theme was running. A lot of teams are doing it yesterday, the last 3 days. And I'm going to be happy with that. We're getting to see talent that, has chances to shine in the NFL. And if you could somehow get a starting job or even a backup role in the backfield, you may have an NFL future there. The NFL has gotten away from the running game a lot over the last few years. It's been throw, for the running game.
Yeah, it's because everybody says the running back do not have a long career expectancy.
All right, we do have a few more games that we are going to be covering because we already pretty much talked about the Buffalo game. Oh, look at that! We have the Turd Burglars versus the Bears. I'm sorry, the Cleveland Browns, aka the Turd Burglars.
Well, there was actually a headline about the Browns. Let me see if I can pull it up because this one was actually interesting. Okay, I think this is about the Browns, the Bears, their wide receiver and assistant head coach, former Washington receiver Antoine Randall L. He was actually handed the play calling duties for the second half of Chicago's preseason opener by Ben Johnson, and the result was 24 unanswered points, 12 first downs, 235 yards as the Bears blew out the Browns at Soldier Field. And you have to wonder how much longer they're going to be at Soldier Field because the Bears are apparently on their way out. But we obviously don't talk about this stuff on this program. That's embarrassing for the Bears to have to actually play in Indiana. That's embarrassing.
Well, wasn't it originally they were going to be going to? We weren't going to be in Illinois anymore. They were going south, weren't they?
Yeah, well, Indiana.
I thought it was somewhere else. That wasn't Indiana. Missouri, wasn't it?
Nope.
I thought
The
they were.
Bears won
I believe they. I thought they were moving a state south. I don't think Indiana is a state south from them.
Nope. Well, it's a little south of Chicago, I think, but it doesn't feel like it. But no, I mean, yeah, the whole thing is embarrassing, but obviously we can't get into that because it involves politicizing, which we don't get to.
Well, there also is
That's
another.
a conversation for me and fear me, but
Well, I am petitioning. I might start up my own petition. I don't know how well that would work. I am going to petition for Mr. Sanders to be the Browns' starting quarterback.
well, I have his number if you're interested.
Give me his numbers from this game.
6 for 11, 6 completions out of 11 attempts. For those of you that don't understand, 79 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Okay, I would say average to slightly above average. I mean, not the best, but certainly not the worst. Deshaun Watson obviously was the starter, and Deshaun Watson actually had a very respectable performance. 11 for 15, 126 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, a 98.2 rating. That's actually not bad. Better than I thought, I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
But I do have Dylan Gabriel's numbers, but yeah.
yeah, but
those
I don't
numbers
think he's.
they
I don't think
they
he's.
don't do any justice.
I don't think he's in the conversation currently right now. I think he's more in the conversation with Deshaun Watson than anything else. And the news is out of Turd Burglar's camp that Watson and Sanders are going to be sharing first level or first tier snaps this week. I think, I'm going to be honest with you, if we see Deshaun Watson and he Turd Burglars the bed this week coming up for Cleveland, that we're going to see Sanders as a starter. Listen, Sanders was drafted for a reason. If they really didn't want him, he could have been out on the scrap heap and picked him up later. But you had him start games last year because Dylan Gabriel couldn't cut the mustard, I believe. So why are we not giving him that opportunity? I really do want to see what Sanders has got. I mean, he's only like quarterback number 28 on the list of quarterbacks since like 2012. So let's give him a shot. Let's see what he's got. I don't see why we don't.
Mm-hmm. Now for the Bears, Caleb Williams is the starter. That's no surprise. Case Keenum is still in the league. Wow, he's been in the league for how long now?
Forever?
Forever, yeah. Tyson Bagent, I think had 13 for 22, 169 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Case Keenum went 9 for 10 for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns.
All right, so we have 3 games left to talk about.
Yeah, the Bears. You know, when you see these blowouts in the preseason, how do you react to that, Ricky?
You know what? I honestly cannot react to a lot in the preseason. I can only react to the fact that if a significant player gets hurt, or we see something in the preseason that possibly would never happen in regular season. But again, there were players yesterday and Friday and Thursday that all scored their first NFL touchdown. Guess what?
Chicken butt?
It falls on deaf ears because preseason stats don't count. That's a problem. We get a memory that fades away and becomes obsolete because it doesn't count in the record books. That is something you sit there and you think about. An NFL rookie playing in an NFL game that scores a touchdown, that technically never counted. So a lot of preseason you take for granted again, a blowout like this Bears game, you're like, oh, Bears look really good. And then go 1-4 to start the regular season. You were like, what the fuck happened between week 1 of preseason and now week 5 of the NFL regular season? Like, we're doing our analysis on these players and giving you the scores and the news the way we are. But again, our layout will be completely different once the regular season starts. That's the way you look at it. You take the preseason with tremendously large grains of salt. It's like our warm up for the regular season. We're doing dress rehearsals every fucking week.
Right.
I mean, hell, I could tell you through the first week of the preseason games how many blunders the referees made, how many blunders replay made. Like, you could count them on more than just my hands, how many issues we've had with games already this year. And we're not even in the regular season yet. I mean, I try not to dwell on a lot of different things, but let's look at this Giants-Vikings game, right?
Well, there's a headline in that one.
Go for it.
Jamal Adams, safety, I think.
Yes, possibly out for the season already.
What is it? Are they fearing a torn ACL?
They are fearing whatever is wrong with his leg. And you want to know the reason why they're fearing what's wrong with his leg? Because it happened at MetLife Stadium. A stadium he used to call home. And it's another gripe that I've got. Because, Mr. Behrman, I think you need to refresh sports fans' minds. Where did the World Cup play this year?
In the United States.
And what specific stadium hosted World Cup games?
MetLife Stadium. Except apparently the World Cup, they had to call it New York Stadium. Which, okay, but on my football program, Internet FC, I didn't do that.
Also, could you kindly remind me what had to happen in order for World Cup to play in said stadium?
They had to adjust the turf.
And what did the people of MetLife Stadium do after the World Cup was over?
What did they? What did they not do? I feel like this is where we're going.
They changed the turf back. They changed it back to NFL style turf instead of leaving the FIFA style turf on the field. And what happens in the preseason game? The MetLife curse. Players get hurt there every fucking year. Who did the Giants lose to injury at MetLife Stadium last year?
Who was it?
Scatterboo and Malik Neighbors.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Cam Scatterboo. But a couple years ago, who was it that got hurt? In his debut for the Jets? Aaron Rodgers.
4 plays into the game.
And this is preseason, so who is it going to be in the regular season, my friend?
If I really wanted to say that, I would say half the Jets team, but I'm not going to.
But check this out. The Vikings really have a plethora, a hat trick, as far as quarterback position goes. Carson Wentz is still in the NFL. And he's with the Vikings. He went 9 for 14, 81 yards and a touchdown.
An interesting note on that I heard in the game. He played early and then had to come in and relieve the quarterback in the game because that quarterback got hurt.
Wow. Well, Kyler Murray only briefly played, went 2 for 3 for 10 yards, and J.J. McCarthy 4 for 7 for 34 yards. Yeah, nothing much really from the quarterbacks. To be honest.
I'm gonna just go out on a limb and I'm not using one of mine. I'm sorry, the Kyler Murray experience is not going to work in Minnesota.
Dude,
It's
for the,
not.
for the
It's
record,
not.
you told me that. Well, okay, when Kyler Murray was released and we were speaking about it, Ricky, you told me that you feel that almost no matter where he goes, you were feel like it wasn't going to work out.
No, I didn't. But you know what? I'm going to be honest in saying
And it
that
pains you, sorry for the record, right? It pains you.
it
Okay. I knew Ricky would be stopped right in his tracks.
I feel like I got to go with like a laundry list. Now, I don't have my laundry list or my shopping list in stone. I'm just going to throw names out there, okay?
Throw him out, baby.
Carson Wentz, Tua, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins. I know there's probably like 3 or 4 more on there that I really want to and not go. But every time we take chances on quarterbacks, oh, you know what? Geno Smith too. We'll just fucking throw his ass in there.
Seattle, right?
Him and his,
Las Vegas.
him and his fucking broken jaw syndrome from when he was on the Jets. All right. You know what? Like, there are guys that we're like, well, maybe, if we just go to a different system, we could be successful. And we see a glimpse, and then the glimpse gets dimmed, like really, really fast. Like Geno Smith when he was in Seattle was pretty good. Goes to the Raiders, shits the bed. Kyler Murray was great before he got hurt, shits the bed. Tua, 8 million concussions later, shits the bed. Like, so let's stop this crap.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta stop chasing the glory and hope and pray like we don't have anything else seriously going on with these guys. Tua not happy with his performance. It's the first game of the preseason. Suck it up, Buttercup. Kyler Murray, again, new system. He's got to suck it up too at some points. Now, granted, he only threw 3 passes. How many passes are you really going to see Kyler Murray throw if you got a viable running game in Minnesota? He may have 25 attempts per game. Like, that might be it. He might get the Justin Fields treatment when he was when Fields was the Jets last year. Let's run the ball so fucking Fields doesn't have to throw it. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Justin Fields was the starting quarterback yesterday for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh.
And my poor 11-year-old nephew yelling, why isn't he throwing the ball? Because he can't throw the ball. That's
Did you tell him that?
That's exact. In the voice that was exactly said. He can't throw the ball. Yeah.
And your nephew gave you that death.
My nephew gave me the dirtiest look and then found out that they took Justin Fields out after one drive and their newly drafted quarterback was in the game.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's going to be an ongoing theme.
An ongoing theme.
So,
Oh, yeah, he did. Oh, yeah. Well, he went 4 for 4. He went 4 for 4.
He got more yardage running than he did passing. I believe.
I mean, in his time in Chicago, there were so many times where Justin Fields was the leading runner, and the playmaker would express not only his dissatisfaction, but Darnell would legitimately get pissed off because he would say that it's embarrassing when the starting quarterback has more running yards than all the other running backs combined. I mean, seriously, I think Darnell would get mad at him when we do Archrivals with him 4 years ago. Well,
I am going to go out on a limb. I'm going to summarize the next 2 games because we do have a preview to do for the NFC North. We did have the Saints and the Jaguars. I'm going to go out and say I think the Saints will be fine this year. After seeing what I did in the preseason game, Jacksonville still has a lot to prove before they go into the regular season. Jacksonville's running game is going to have to get tremendously better with no ETN in the backfield. And on the Eagles-Ravens side, I think the Eagles are going to play a little Jekyll and Hyde this year. I did not see the Eagles put out a lot of effort defensively in this game, where Baltimore showed, even though we don't have a Harbaugh for a coach, that I think we could still handle the system. That's what I'm looking at between those four teams.
Lamar Jackson didn't even play.
But he did have a tremendously nice sideline interview. And I was pretty impressed that he can actually talk on the mic.
Right.
That I was actually pretty happy with. So, on that note, that were the games from the week. We are going to take a small commercial break. And then when we come back, we'll be covering the NFC North in under a half an hour. This is Archrivals Football. I'm the Master of Mayhem. That's the Bear Man. We will be right back. 6ix9ine Productions and Pipe Bomb Radio NYC are proud to announce our partnership with Fanatics.com, giving you band merchandise from the NFL, the NCAA, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Soccer, International Soccer, the WWE, the WNBA, golf, NASCAR, and Formula One racing. Be sure to check out our link tree for our Fanatics link and many more of our other partners. All right, we are back here on at Archrivals Football. It's yours truly, the Master of the Mayhem, the Bear Man. Oh, yeah, over there. Stepped away from the desk for the moment, but we are here just letting everybody know. Once again, we've got merch on 6ix9ine.threadless.com. That's SYXXNYNE.threadless.com. We are also live on the air on multiple platforms. Currently, we are on live on the Facebook on our Archrivals Facebook page, my personal page, our YouTube channel at Pain Train Pipe Bomb. We are also currently live on TikTok and 6ix9inefm.com, the Live 365 app, or the TuneIn app. Bearman, now that I've done all that shameless promo, are you ready to now cover the NFC North?
Yeah. Well, I gotta address a comment that we got on TikTok from Miss Amy. Apparently, she doesn't talk sports because she says that's bad as politics. I mean, I can understand where she's coming from, but Amy, in my case, in Ricky's case, talking sports, that's what we do.
Well, I'm not worried about the politics.
Except, at least we are honest, unlike those ones in politics. I mean, we're honest.
You know what I gotta say about that comment? We're better than politicians.
Yeah.
And one massive thing I could say about the way that we do this show, we don't sugarcoat fucking anything. We don't fucking lie to you. We don't put up this pretentious bitch look and attitude. We're real deal.
We don't read scripts. We don't have a particularly campaign team tell us what to say, when to say it, write stuff for us. No. We don't do that sort of shit.
No, we don't need to do that shit. By the way, these fucking glasses are fucking annoying the crap out of me.
I mean, politicians will say, vote for me and I'll do this for you. I'm like, you subscribe to my show, I swear on my life, I will give you the best show ever.
God,
Ricky
everything's
and I will give you the best show ever.
God, everything's fucking bright. All right, we're gonna
But don't
start.
worry, Amy. We're not mad at you, Amy. Don't worry.
Oh, she's laughing at us right now. All right,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna start off with the black and blue division because
Black
this one,
and blue division.
yes, the black and blue division because you know what you know what colors black and blue make, right? Purple.
Right. Purple.
All right. First team we're going to cover in the NFC North. Again, 3 key storylines. I will deliver the question. You deliver the answer.
Oh boy,
I
you're
feel like-
challenging me, aren't you, son?
I feel like fucking Sajak and fucking Trebek. Although I might be looking more like Trebek than anything else.
Jeopardy.
Chicago Bears.
Chi-town.
Can Caleb Williams deliver consistency?
His rookie year was obviously that was something that was coming into this rookie year. Consistency was a problem his rookie year, right, Ricky?
Yes.
It was also a problem in his sophomore year, but we did see some consistent moments in his sophomore year, right?
Yes.
So there was some progress. So now we're in year 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a huge struggle his first year. It was still a struggle last year, but we did see some consistency. So, Ricky, my answer to you might not be the answer that you want or what anybody wants. All I can say is we'll see. Because I can make the prediction. I can say, sure, he'll be consistent, but the truth is, Caleb Williams is unpredictable. Sometimes in a bad way, but a lot of times in a good way. I mean, being unpredictable is not always a bad thing, folks. So the problem is that Caleb Williams and the Bears are so unpredictable. I couldn't sit and swear in open court. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I couldn't swear under oath that I know for sure that Caleb Williams is gonna be consistent or like that. But there's one thing to keep in mind, Ricky. It's not only on Caleb Williams because there's a lot of questions like the offensive line, the wide receiver core, the play calling, etc. So it's not only consistency for Mr. Caleb Williams, it's consistency on the Chicago Bears offense.
And I'll just leave the question and move on to the next question. Can they rightfully replace Mr. Moore on the offense? One massively large key receiver Caleb Williams had last year that gave him success.
And where is Moore now?
Buffalo.
And who right now is slated to be the best weapon for Mr. Caleb Williams?
They're saying Luther Burden III, Rome Ndunze, Colston Loveland, and some of the other young tight ends that they had in their system last year.
Well, this is where I wish I had somebody I know, another football media personality, Coach Bruce, who of course is in Chicago, a strong supporter of the Bears, the Monsters of the Midwest. I wish he was here because he would give the best. He'd give us the best possible analysis ever because he's got a certain perspective which is unique. You see, what you just mentioned, it proves my point about the unpredictability, right?
Yes.
And this makes the situation much more complicated. So because these bring up more unanswered questions, that's where we have to leave it. I mean, again, I can give a prediction, but I always say you can't make a prediction. You can't make a legitimate prediction without backing it up. And I'll never forget when I said that to you 6 years ago. That's a code I live by as a sports writer. Don't make predictions that you cannot back up. You might not always get humiliated, but at the same time, it's not gonna feel good. Don't make predictions you can't back up. So I cannot make a legitimate prediction surrounding the Bears because of all the unanswered questions, which shows that there's too much unpredictability, my friend.
So the second and third question will be combined, only because I run the show and I can do what the fuck I want.
Yeah, you're Steven Spielberg.
Will the trenches, the offensive line, and the defense as a whole, will they be able to coincide with each other during the season, knowing there was so much turnover on the defensive side of the ball and the fluidity of the offensive line for the Chicago Bears?
Well, the offensive line, according to the Pro Football Focus, they're entering 2026 as in the top 5. Apparently, it's anchored by, Darnell Wright, who apparently I think signed an extension, right? There's also another player named, what's his name? Braxton Jones, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the Pro Football Focus has the offensive line, the Chicago Bears offensive line in the top 5. And they don't just give that to anybody. I mean, some people do not take these sources seriously. Some of them, sure, yeah, they spit out a bunch of crap, but still, I mean. Now, defensive line, well, according to this, some preseason training concerns over the depth have turned into a strength via consistent play through a player by the name of Gervin Dexter Sr. and the emergence of Jordan Vanderberg. So there's obviously some potential, and things supposedly look positive, than more positive than negative for the Bears on both the offense and defensive line. But Ricky, the word potential speaks for itself because potential does not guarantee anything. That's the one thing to keep in mind, right?
Right.
So there's potential, okay? There's potential, which means it's possible, it's probable, right? But this is what it doesn't guarantee. So possible and probable it could mean that what could happen will not happen. So it's potential, but it's reality that's going to tell the story. And we're not going to be. We just have to wait and see how things play out for the Chicago Bears. Can players stay healthy? Like that.
The only thing I have to say is offensive line was something that was kind of an issue toward the end of the regular season with them going into the playoffs. When you're playing playoff football, you need to make sure that you fill a lot of gaps. And I'm not even talking about on the starting line. I am talking about your backups. And preseason, obviously, you can only go so far on that litmus test on both sides of the ball. Okay? That I can definitely say. Because you're not playing starter versus starter. You're playing backup versus backup. Now, at some point, if the backups get into play against some of the starters, then I could say, hey, you know what? Like, we got something really cooking here. But we don't get the true litmus test on how guys are going to perform. Because they're going to ball out in preseason. But once they get to the regular season, they may not perform as well. That's where I kind of find like the litany of how everything really kind of goes. But God, I would love to see Chicago get back to the smash mouth style football that we saw in the 80s and the 90s. Even though the Bears weren't tremendously great in the 90s, like one thing that they were always known for was defense.
Right. I mean, they're known as the monsters of the Midwest for a freaking reason. But Ricky, I got more notes right here as far as weaknesses entering 2026, if you are interested, sir.
Give them to me quick.
Well, primary weaknesses including a lack of consistent pass rush and a poor defensive line depth. But apparently, again, like I said, that has seemed to have turned things around. But weak pass rush win rate is a problem, along with defensive run struggles as well. The secondary is a problem as well, and unsustainable takeaways as well.
Taking away. We'll flip over to the next one. We are now talking about the Detroit Lions. Obviously, we spoke in depth about Jared Goff on Thursday and certain things that we really want to try to pay attention about with the Detroit Lions. And it's a bleeding theory that we go from the offensive line of the Chicago Bears to now the offensive line overhaul in Detroit. Now, obviously, you can't keep a quarterback up if you ain't got a good offensive line. You are not going to have a tremendously great running game if you can't have a great offensive line. Speak and preach on the Detroit Lions offensive line.
Well, obviously, as we know, the Lions do have a chip on their shoulder because they're looking to rebound from a 9-8 season and the season they had before. The offensive line, as we know, features an anchor, anchors like Penei Sewell, somebody that we know very well, who's actually moving to left tackle. But there's the rookie first rounder, Mr. Blake Miller, who's at right tackle. But apparently, Blake Miller faces major camp turbulence due to a broken wrist, sidelining him. So, well, unless I'm thinking of somebody else, but no, I think that's another offensive line with a broken wrist. But yeah, it's not Blake Miller. So Blake Miller is going to be at right tackle. You have Tate Ratledge at the right guard, who returns after a strong rookie campaign where he did not allow a sack in his final 12 games. And Penei Sewell will shift over to protect Jared Goff's blind side as the undisputed leader of the offensive line unit. And Blake Miller, once again, the 2026 first-round pick, stepping directly into the starting role. Now, it's Cade Mays who suffered the broken wrist in August, and he's expected to miss 8 to 10 weeks. Now, there's some competitions in the left guard position, so competition is a good thing, but injuries do not do any justice, Mr. Ricky.
Which also brings up, because you brought up his name, the Detroit Lions running game. Now, it did lose a viable piece in the offseason. They did make a trade and replace him. Will you see the combination of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs succeed or fall back further than the running game that they had last year?
Well, part of me was a little surprised to see that the Lions traded Mr. David Montgomery to the Houston Texans, which, as we know, officially ended the, quote, Sonic and Knuckles backfield duo. So now with Gibbs now stepping into the primary leadership role, in other words, becoming the starter, Gibbs is taking on a massive responsibility, taking over in the principal workload that is looking to build the dynamic skill set without splitting heavy early down duties. But the depths and the injuries for the Detroit Lions have tested the remaining rotation during training camp and early preseason. There's a player by the name of Sione Vaki working through minor setbacks while younger pieces are battling over the roster spots. So, as we know, Gibbs can't carry the entire run game by himself, and he shouldn't. A responsible and safe running back set always has not one, but two reliable backups to basically add some insurance runs and to ease the stress of the starting running back getting hurt. Being a running back is not easy. I mean, that's why the career expectancy is, that's why they say you don't pay running backs, if you know what I mean.
Outside this, I'll ask you your opinion. I'll throw it in kind of afterwards. I
feel like I'm preaching, bro.
Is Super Bowl running back Isaiah Pacheco a viable replacement to fill in behind Jahmyr Gibbs?
It can work, but it can't. Why do I say that, Ricky? Because, again, the things are just so unpredictable. I mean, how many times have we seen a star player leave one team for another, and there's all that potential and expectancy, and we're all convinced it's going to work out good? How many times have we been in that situation, Ricky?
Oh, plenty.
And out of those times, how many times has the whole thing shit the bed?
Plenty.
Right. So with Pacheco, his potential in Detroit, again, on paper it looks great, obviously. Now, he signed a one-year deal, and I'm glad that it's a one-year deal because, you got to see how things go. Now, he operates as an explosive lead back, okay? And he's able to handle the short yardage situations and help close out games. And basically, he provides a huge amount of depth. But, the role, obviously, he'll benefit from Detroit's elite run blocking unit and a system designed to maximize downhill runners, okay? So, again, there's the potential, but again, we just have to wait and see how things go. But on paper, it looks great, but on paper is the same thing as it could potentially work. Nothing's guaranteed.
I hope Houston enjoys David Montgomery, because this to me is kind of a downgrade for the Detroit Lions, because Pacheco and his career history, I don't believe played all of the full seasons in Kansas City that you would kind of expect out of longevity of a running back.
Right.
Granted, yes, Pacheco was on multiple Kansas City Super Bowl game rosters. However, at some points, it felt like there was a little bit of a decline in some of Pacheco's game. Can we contribute that to Kansas City's offensive line? Possibly. Because that was one of the main reasons why, a certain Patrick Mahomes got hurt, because he wasn't protected enough. Him running around for his life. So I don't know. I'm saying that the Montgomery over Pacheco argument would go more to Montgomery than it would be to Pacheco. But I would love to see how Montgomery is going to last under the Texans' offensive line. But it also then, because Pacheco has not been a healthy player a lot for a long time, goes to question 3. Can Detroit return to health? Now, obviously, they have had multiple injuries on both sides of the ball. Injury at tight end with Sam Laporta is a question mark. They lost Brian Branch to an Achilles tear. They lost Kirby Joseph to another knee injury. And now they do not have the services of Terrion Arnold, who just, I believe now, signed with the Seattle Seahawks. So the question is, can they do something that the 49ers can't and exist with all of their injuries that they currently have?
Unfortunately, the injuries, it's a freaking laundry list, okay? I mean, Pacheco is actually one of the injured players who's managing a knee/MCL sprain, but he's expected to be back for the regular season. I think Detroit has a better chance than San Francisco of fighting through this injury problem. I feel like Detroit can certainly fight it at first, but the problem is that if the injury situation worsens, it's going to be too much. It's going to be too much, and Detroit, even if they try, they won't be able to fight through it.
Speaking of injuries, that leads us into team number 3 in the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers, the Cheeseheads. We just talked about this player at the beginning of the show. Who rushes the passer until Micah returns? Now, mind you, Micah Parsons is starting camp on the PUP list, and in all likelihood will still start the season on the PUP list. They do have players like Rashawn Gary that made sense. Lucas Van Ness, Dennis Sutton. But are they going to be able to find the ultimate pass rush replacement?
Well, right now, second-year edge rusher Baron Sorrell is apparently emerging as the leading candidate to replace Micah Parsons while Parsons continues to recover from that torn ACL. Sorrell was a 4th-round draft pick in 2025, and he has taken first-team reps opposite of Lucas Van Ness, and he has received starting treatment in the preseason opener. But Luca Van Ness is expected to anchor the primary pass rushing role, while Micah Parsons, again, still remains injured. Parsons is expected to miss at least the first 4 games, and there is speculation that he could potentially return around week 6. I believe that they will play the Cowboys around that time.
Which will be a very, very tough first 6 games in the NFL. You don't have your guy running around doing what he's supposed to be doing. I kind of look at it as the fact of I don't know. That could be a really tough sled after the price that you paid last year to get him.
Right.
And again, I made it kind of obviously looming large. You traded for a guy who brings, when he plays, is probably the biggest fire on that side of the ball. Causes a lot of issues. But now he's hurt. The Packers are now thinking to themselves, what the fuck did we do that we ended up getting a guy that we can't use right now? So, unless you really have gone out and you really drafted well for that side of the ball, a lot of those second-tier players are really going to have to step it up. Unless you find on the scrap heap somewhere when we're starting to cut the roster down from 90 plus to 53, if you could find somebody off of somebody's roster of 37 players that they got rid of, could be an advantage, could be a surprise. I see defenses being a little bit of an issue for the Green Bay Packers at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
But now I'll flip to the other side of the ball because that's what we do here on Archrivals Football. The Josh Jacobs issue. Now, apparently, he was arrested in May. It is unclear how local authorities are handling the situation. We don't know if the league will take any discipline against him. And they really don't have very much of a laundry list of guys that they could throw behind him. Chris Brooks and Marshawn Lloyd are next on the depth chart. Your thoughts on the run game for the Green Bay Packers?
Well, the whole situation with Jacobs is obviously serious, but he's also injured as well. Well, So as far as that goes, well, we don't even know if he's going to be suspended because apparently the whole thing is, I think, still being under investigation. But of course, he denies the allegations. So again, the whole running game situation does center around running back Josh Jacobs, who has missed training camp practice since August because of a groin injury. Although head coach Matt LaFleur says he's hopeful that Jacobs could return to practice next week. Now, the depth also mentions, well, there's Marshawn Lloyd, who's the second-year back and 2024 third-round pick. But there's as far as the opener, well, Lloyd managed only 13 yards on 4 carries during Green Bay's 28-9 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But as far as the running game situation, I feel like there's really not much to go on. I mean, there's some names out there, but I feel like the Green Bay running game is definitely being severely affected at the moment.
Which also brings up question 3, because it's another offensive question. Are the Green Bay Packers going to be able to recover at a position that they diligently did not pay attention to? That would be wide receiver. They did lose Romeo Doubs to the New England Patriots. They did trade away Dontavian Wicks. By the way, trying to pronounce that guy's first name. Fucking infamy. They did re-sign Jaden Reed and Christian Watson to extensions. Do we see the Green Bay Packers succeed or fall behind at the wide receiver spot?
Well, they still have a high upside, depth-rich receiving core, but you know what the problem is, Ricky?
What?
Apparently, according to this, they lack a traditional alpha wide receiver 1. So, as you mentioned, Romeo Doubs departed, and I think went to the Patriots.
Yes.
And there's also that player, Matthew Golden, somebody that I don't know very, very well, who played college football at the University of Texas, was the first-round pick in 2025. Matthew Golden's definitely got potential, but he's just not reached the status of being the number 1 guy. So there's some depth at the wide receiver position, but the only issue is they just don't have their number 1 guy. I don't think I see this affecting the Packers as much as we think it's going to because, well, Jordan Love is a great quarterback. Now, the Packers could run into some problems, but I think in the longevity, I think the Packers passing game and receiving game should be okay.
All right. Final team in the division, we have the Minnesota Vikings, home of WrestleMania this past year, which it was nice to see the insides of that stadium not being a football game, but it does show a lot of shine to it.
Yeah, they just had SummerSlam there.
The question being, under center, Kyler or JJ, is this a competition or coronation?
I don't think it was ever a competition, to be honest, because it was announced that Kyler Murray was told that he'd be the starter, I believe, right?
Yes.
I mean, okay, there had to have been some competition at some point, but because Kyler Murray's status as a veteran in the NFL, I was like, well, I mean, it's usually the veteran that wins, but it's rare that the less experienced guy beats out the veteran, but that does happen. But part of me feels like something did not go the way it should have been. Like I feel like the whole thing might have been set up from the beginning, like predetermined. But the problem is JJ McCarthy has not been able to earn and keep the trust. And Kyler Murray, many people are just saying, oh, well, the Cardinals failed him. So the Vikings are just going to have to see. They're just going to have to look and wait and see what happens. But they better have JJ McCarthy ready to go. Because I don't see Kyler Murray playing every single play for the Vikings, whether he gets hurt, whether he craps the bed and is put on the bench. Bottom line is, I just don't see Kyler Murray going through the entire season as the starter.
I don't either. And it puts me in like a compromising spot. Okay?
Well, I think it happens to us.
No, but here's the fact being, okay? Kyler Murray is fragile.
Big time.
He obviously can't run around wrapped in bubble wrap. We can't put him in a bubble. And football is an aggressive sport. He's obviously a running quarterback. So we can't really say, oh, you know what? We can kind of take it easy with Kyler Murray. You just wait for that glass slipper to drop. And then JJ's in there. Rightfully so. I feel like it's almost a situation, and I'll use my team for an example. Let's go back 3 years. Jacoby Brissett was the starting quarterback where you had Drake May sitting waiting in the wings. He only lasted 5 games. Drake May's in there for the rest of the season. If it's not going correct for Kyler in Minnesota, then we're throwing JJ in regardless.
Right.
It's one of those situations, it's, okay, Kyler gets hurt, we have JJ, or Kyler not performing, we have JJ. Like, at some point, I don't see Kyler Murray maybe going past 7 games.
Right.
That's the way I kind of see this situation right now. And I almost want to kind of jump out of division for a minute and say, you know what? The same shit's going to fucking happen in Atlanta. If Tua's not doing well, Penix is going in. Because teams can't last long when their performers are not doing their job to what they're supposed to be doing. That's what I'm kind of feeling like right now. Atlanta and Minnesota are going to do the same thing.
Right.
And in this case, I don't see Kyler being Kyler anymore.
I mean, I feel like that horse left the barn a long time ago because Kyler Murray only had one record in Arizona that was above 500, and that was 5 years ago. He was the 2019 NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's a two-time Pro Bowler. He was actually the Pro Bowl MVP in 2020, and that's where people are literally laughing and asking, "Wait, there's an MVP in the freaking Pro Bowl?" Yeah, there's even penalties in the freaking Pro Bowl. And you know what? I have Kyler Murray's starting record in Arizona. If you're interested,
Go for it.
38 and 48 and 1.
With
Now
how,
again,
with how many games played over his longevity in Arizona?
over 80. Well, here's the deal. You know, I have the exact number of games he played, that he played and he started, and they're both the same. And you know what that is?
How many?
87. And in his rookie year, he was sacked the most times that year, 48 times. But again, everything that happened in the desert, it's not entirely on him. I mean, a lot of people insist he didn't fail the Cardinals failed him. And it's sad too, because Kyler Murray was tremendous at the University of Oklahoma. And Kyler Murray grew up and played his high school football in the DFW area, not far from where I grew up. So there's obviously a connection between me and Kyler Murray, but he's 29 years old. So again, that's why, like I said, the horse left the barn a long time ago. The ship sailed a long time ago, and guess what? The ship probably already sunk. It's probably already at the bottom of the ocean.
The other thing I'll bring up, again, it's a combo question, then we wrap it up for the second episode of Archrivals. Again, longer than what we always expect. Defense.
Well, we're having fun.
I'll quote a line from The Simpsons. Defense, you call that blowing.
Apu.
Yes.
The Quickie Mart.
Is the defense going to return to form with multiple questions of obviously departures, additions, and possible retirements?
Well, the defense, as we know, is led by defensive coordinator Mr. Brian Flores, okay? And
Formerly of where?
the Miami Dolphins.
There you
Right.
go.
Okay. So the Vikings defense led by Brian Flores, they thrive on high rate blitz packages, versatility, 6-wide alignments, stellar executions, consistent ground attacks, explosive pass plays, the whole 9 yards. And the strengths include, again, aggressive blitz schemes, situational dominance, complex disguises, versatility fronts that involves moving defenders fluidly across the line of scrimmage. Okay. The dominance, it mentions excelling heavily on crucial downs as well, utilizing heavy too high safety zone shells and simulated pressure post snap to confuse opposing signal callers. I mean, the Vikings, as far as strengths go, the strengths are there, but there are weaknesses. And well, here's two weaknesses that are so crucial, you can't overlook them. And you know what those are, Ricky?
What?
Number one, vulnerability to the big play. Number two, execution margin. I mean, let's be honest. Every strong defense, whether it's college football, high school football, NFL football, or even, pee-wee football, any strong defense is bound to have a weakness. Let's be honest. There's no such thing as perfect. And of course, people say unless you were Michael Jordan. I'm like, okay, all right. But again, the Viking defense, again, you can't overlook it. But at the same time, okay, let me step back a little bit. You can't deny that the Vikings have a strengthful defense, but at the same time, you can't deny that there are some weaknesses. And part of the weakness also, furthermore, includes interior run defense because they can struggle with a gap discipline and consistency along defensive interior that allows physical rushing backs to basically catch them off guard and beat them most of the time.
It's a very weird situation. It's, to me, I try to assimilate both of these at the same time.
Well, and you mentioned it earlier. It's a Jekyll and Hyde effect.
But it's also the same thing that, like in the game of chess, do you have the pieces to be able to maneuver around the board, so to speak?
At the beginning, you do, but if you don't make right calls, one by one, you're going to start off by losing your pawns, and then eventually you're going to lose the bishop, you're going to lose the knight, you're going to lose the castle, you're going to lose the queen, and then the king is going to be completely vulnerable. You might as well just put your finger on top of it and knock the king over. You have no chance. To quote somebody that we know well, you have no chance in hell.
Okay. That's our coverage for the NFC North. Next week, we have the NFC, or next show, I should say, NFC South, which is probably one of the worst divisions in football. No, I'm not even going to lie. That division's had people come out of it with like 8 wins, 9 wins, and they barely win the division, like the Carolina Panthers last year. Next week, we have... Oh, wait, hold on. I might get a fucking cease and desist letter. We have 5 days of football next week. 5. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thank the Lord we have a spread out schedule. Because I cannot sit and watch all of those games at one time. So we will be back, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday with the show. I'm glad. I am glad to say that we are back in the seat doing the show, because we do have a lot of fun talking football, and we are our normal selves when it comes down to this, because we are fans doing this show for the fans. And again, this show is going to be on multiple platforms after this weekend, so make sure if you have Amazon, or you have iHeart, or you have Apple, or you have Spotify, or any other platforms and get my grungy little fingers on, check them out. The shows are a little bit longer to start because, again, we got a feeling out period to do. Mr. Bearman, hit him out with our famous outro, and we can kiss this one goodbye for the night.
Well, we thank you so much for tuning in to the second episode of the revival and reemergence of the greatest NFL football podcast of all time. That would be Archrivals. Please be sure to check out our radio, 69 FM, on our website, 69fm.com. And also be sure to find us on the TuneIn app and the Live 365 app. And also, of course, check out our shop, which is paintrain.threadless.com.
No, okay. It is 69.threadless.com.
69.threadless.com. Sorry, y'all. It's been a long week and a long day. Check out my shows, Into the Net FC, if you love football. It's the greatest football podcast in the world. I don't say soccer, it's football, so get over it. If you are looking for the only Dallas Cowboys podcast that is fully committed to telling you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and fully committed to really pissing off Cowboys Nation, then check out Cowboys Talk. If you love professional wrestling, check out Ringside Chaos. Ricky is a huge part of that project as well. All 3 shows are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you want to shop at Fanatics and take advantage of the great deals, let Ricky and I know, and we will send you the link so you can shop through our link, and you will be taken care of. Thank y'all very, very much. I'm the Bearman, the Master of Mayhem. We bid you adieu, and we love y'all so much, and God bless.
Catch you guys next time here on Archrivals Football. On behalf of the cast and crew of 6ix9ine Productions, thanks for watching Archrivals Football.